Like everything else in Supernatural, you know, the trickster has real and extensive basis in folklore. And it goes much further back than urban legend. It goes back into, you know, world mythology. But it is based in real stories that are told, which is this idea of a trickster god.
The type of trickster I think that's most common or that everybody knows about is supposed to be a deity. Troublesome, tricky. Tricksters do appear in every culture. Coyote and raven, and sometimes called crow, is a big Native American trickster. There is Loki, who is part of the Norse tradition. Most people know Puck from A Midsummer Night's Dream from Shakespeare, and he's a Celtic trickster. So those are some of the examples, but my favorite trickster is Brer Rabbit.
A trickster will often target people who are getting too big for their own breeches. That is to say, a trickster will look at what are cultural norms, and if somebody is trying to pull themselves up outside of the community at the expense of the community, the trickster will often recognize that person and in some ways undermine what it is that they're up to.
Can't let you just keep hurting people. Come on! Those people got what was coming to them. Hoisted on their own petards.
What I think happens is not so much that they do shape-shifting and different things, is they examine their victim or the situation and they find the weak spot and then they poke at it.
These things create chaos and mischief as easy as breathing. And it's got you so turned around and at each other's throats, you can't even think straight.
What's remarkable about the trickster is he often acts by proxy. He doesn't do things directly. He's able to manipulate the situation so it seems that somebody else might be at fault here. And of course, that's incredibly powerful. And so we do find that tricksters can be more than mischievous. They can be downright threatening.
You want to see a real trick?
Trickster is something that can, in our world, make anything out of thin air. But if it can make anything, why is it choosing to make one thing versus another? Well, because it's a fan of the Weekly World News, and it thinks the coolest monsters are in there, and it wants to throw the coolest monsters at these people and see how they react.
The Winchester Boys and the Weekly World News are kind of in the same business, revealing the unrevealable. So they would frequently make mention of us on the show, and after the last time they did, I sent them a letter saying that if they ever needed any help preparing a front page, a story for to help with the show, that please to get in touch with us and we'd be happy to help. And about a month later they did.
Then they became like this big part of the episode, and it just because they, you know, were originally interested and sent us a couple issues, all of a sudden we have the Weekly World News episode.
Well, there are no other newspaper like the Weekly World News, and we're pretty much the home to the urban legend. I mean, we have Bigfoot, we have Bat Boy, and we were the first newspaper to break the news of Elvis sightings in the 90s.
The Alligator in the Sewer is a classic story. It's hilarious. It's so funny. And so I knew that I wanted to do it into an episode, but we could never do it because we're never going to make an episode. We're never going to make a real episode of Supernatural about the alligator in the sewer, about the guys hunting the sewer or looking for the giant alligator. I mean, it's stupid. And we also knew that we were never going to do alien abduction because it's a hard and fast rule of the show. There's no such thing as aliens. Ghosts, demons, that's real, but no one's coming in from outer space. That was always been a rule of the show. But we said, well, you know, with this episode, where we have this trickster character who can create anything out of thin air, wouldn't it be hilarious in our show to have an alien abduction?
They probed me again and again and again.
Most of the ETs we've interviewed are really nice. They come in peace. You know, they're just nice folk who, you know, just happen not to be from here. But you do get the occasional, you know, wise guy. You get the kids who are out for a joyride, the drunk traveling sales being who, you know, leave a few crop circles around just to get people crazy. So, yeah, they get goofy sometimes, but for the most part, they don't mean us harm.
Sadie and Red is dancing with me.
One of our managing editors once said that the difference between the Weekly World News and other newspapers is that if somebody calls up and says, my toaster is talking to me, I don't refer him to professional help. I ask him to put the toaster on the phone. That's the Weekly World News. You know, we're the only place you're going to read the interview with the toaster.
Just your typical haunted campus, alien abduction, alligator in a sewer gig.